So I have had the Sony FX3 for about 5 months now, and I have a lot to say about it. There's going to be a video review on the Sony FX3 in a future date. However, today I want to talk about what I've been dreaming about, not just with the FX3, but with the components that are related to the FX3 or Sony in general, and how other things have worked. I have finally built out a fully ready to go video production camera that can scale with very minimal modifications for almost anything and still be extremely compact, versatile, and ready to go. So I'm gonna go over all the gear that I have that you see here on my Sony FX3, what you will need to sort of get it sort of close to this, and I want to talk about the special pieces of this camera and what makes it work that really is going to give me the range for I need for my clients and my professional paid gigs, but as well as sort of my personal stuff. All that and more in today's video. Hello everyone, my name is James Jackson and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I do tips, tricks, news, and reviews for the film and video making industry. So if this is content that you like, definitely make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit that bell so you can stay up to date on all the content going forth. And I'll just excuse my voice, I'm still a little bit under the weather, but let's not waste any more time and dive right into it. So as you guys see right here, I have the Sony FX3, and this is what I have now deemed to be the most compact and ready to go camera. With this setup, I can high-end professional audio. I have the ability to go into any run and gun scenario where I may be dealing with various lighting conditions. I can also send video signals to a client, but as well as have a monitor that gives me the comfortability in the things that make me feel comfortable monitoring my camera. So I'm gonna dive right into this and sort of go into. Let's start obviously with the camera, and that is of course the Sony FX3. I will just say this: in theory, this kind of can work with any camera company. However, there's going to be very specific things that I will be talking about that is specifically for Sony that just make this setup just work. But the FX3, great image quality, it's got amazing technical specifications. So y'all already know probably about the FX3. I'm not gonna dive into it, but it's an amazing camera in this sort of setup. The lens is the Zeis Batis 2.0. It's the 40mm 2.0. And I love this lens. I took this lens to Ireland. It was essentially my only lens that I used on my trip, and I had a blast. I got so many amazing shots with that. And then at the front, as you see here, I have the Tilta Mirage matte box. And on top of that, I've got the 67 to 95mm step-up ring. I actually bought an extra one that way I don't have to take this off. I have a 95 slip-on that I can just basically put on top, and it will just slide right on, and it will just cover it when I'm not using these matte box. So that way I could just throw the matte box on. Basically, I can just clap on if I'm swapping to my other lens. The other lens I have is the Zeis Batis 85mm, and again, I have the same step-up ring, so it's an easy switch. And of course, with that, I get my variable NDs with this. So matte box helps with, any deals with sun flares. This and obviously, and this is talked about a lot on the YouTube world, but having a matte box just gives this additional premium quality that clients feel is they're getting their money's worth. So just invest into a nice little matte box, and yeah, even if you never use it, it just helps with the looks of it. Next thing we're going to talk about is the cage. Now again, everybody's going to be differently. Me personally, with a compact camera or a mirrorless style camera like this, I really don't like full cages. It's one of the things that I wish I could do with my Cinema Camera 6K Pro, is the fact that I wish I could find a half cage, but I haven't found a half cage that I actually like, because I just love just having naturally have that grip, and just having more metal around it just throws everything off. So I got this half cage. It is actually from Neewer. What's cool about this cage is the fact that even if I don't have this set up, I can just take all this off, and then I can just use the top handle that comes with it and still have that side if I want to add some additional tools with it. And also it's got a nice little thing. If things start to get loose, you got a little handle here that you can tighten everything down. The next thing I guess we're going to be talking about is this side handle, which is from Small Rig. And what's cool about it's got a quick little release system, so I can hold it like there and I can make any adjustments to get more of a comfortable grip if I want to. So if I'm sort like here, I can drill here, but if I'm going here, I can flip this down and then flip it over like this, and just makes getting shots smooth, easy, and available. It has a mounted plate, but I'm not necessarily the fan of this thing. It doesn't give enough real estate for me personally for stuff like this audio cable, which we'll talk about in just a second. But overall, we do also have quarter mounted 20 points. So if I want to add something like a arm or something, or a additional monitor, I can add additional stuff to this as well. Let's get right into what the real meat of this whole setup that makes this work is. First of all, is this device. I'll see if I can. This device right here. This is the Accsoon Cineview Nano. So this is like their entry-level wireless video monitoring system of their Cineview line. I actually got it the holiday special, which is like just under $100. But this whole setup kind of is what ultimately makes everything work. The reason why is because with this, I can put my iPhone here and I can basically use this as a monitor. However, with it being a wireless system, and it uses 5G wireless system, which doesn't have as much traffic, but you're also limited in sort of the distance that you can have. It's about 500 feet, but that's to me good enough. Again, for a setup like this, this is really for more clients that are maybe more budget conscious, but still give the full production experience. What this allows me to do is basically connect my iPad or another mobile device, or my client's mobile device. They can connect and basically see from the video world and basically monitor what I am shooting without going over my head. So that's really the key thing. No, that's one of the key things. The next thing that is the big thing is this, is the phones. You could choose something like shoot on Accsoon's Accsoon app, but that's not what I choose here. And this is where the Sony specific piece really comes into mind. Instead of using Accsoon's app for my own monitor, I actually use Monitor Plus, which is dedicated specifically to Sony cameras. And the reason why is because there, if you'll see right back here, there's a thing which will give me false, not just false color, but this right here is actually EL zone for S-Log3. And that to me is the thing that absolutely makes this work. And I've covered over Monitor Plus on another video. If you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link. I believe it's up here, but I'll leave a link up in the, as well as in the description below, so you can check that video out. But what makes it even more awesome is that, so this taps into here, so my clients can get a wireless signal out. However, I'm using the Type-C port to the iPhone. And essentially what this does is I don't have to worry about wireless connection. It is wired in, and now with the FX3 specifically, it has that ability to do wired connections. So I am getting close to real-time look of my screen right here from my phone. And I can still make all the changes that I need. I can change my frame rate if I can change my frame rate if I want to. I can change the iris control. I can change which EI I'm in this case. I can switch it to 800 or 4000. I can change the white balance. I can change the autofocus that I can use. I can change all of that right here on the camera and be able to make all the decisions, as well as get a great looking image directly from my iPhone, which you can't necessarily always get. And the beauty about this Accsoon Nano that you see right here is that it can also, if for a reason my phone is about to die or I don't need to be wired in, I can unplug this, plug directly into the Nano, and charge my phone that way. This gives such an amazing tool where I can basically then disconnect this. I can then use the USB-C to plug into like a V-mount and then get longer battery run times. And then I can just plug this into my iPhone, the Accsoon, into my iPhone, and we will basically get charging to both the camera and the iPhone. So whenever I'm ready to go back wired in, I can do that. And if I ever need to be away from the camera, I just basically need to disconnect this, lift this up, and with that, as you can see here, I still have control over the camera. So I could be quite a bit of ways away from the camera without even being near it and make all the setting changes that I need in Monitor Plus while also still having the EL zone checking and making sure that everything is looking good. It gives you the free flow to really go. You can be by the camera, but you can also be away with the camera. Monitor Plus has been such clutch for me where I have been doing weddings where I'm using my Blackmagic full frame as well as my FX3, but I'm filming standing by my Blackmagic camera for the ceremony, and then I'm using Monitor Plus to monitor and change the settings if need be on the FX3 in real time without having to go all the way across the aisle of wherever the ceremony is to get to the FX3. Last thing we got to talk about is audio. Obviously, no professional setup is complete without audio. And in this case, we have up here, I have the Rode Wireless Pro receiver that is going directly into the Sony FX3. So I can get whatever I'm recording right here onto the FX3. And you can see down here, we also have a transmitter right here that allows me to basically, no matter where I'm aiming, where I'm going, I can basically use that transmitter to send audio right here just to basically give me some improved scratch audio that's different from the camera. And yeah, and both of these devices can go hours. I've ran several hours on both of these, and the battery runtime is great on them. Excellent. I can go all day on a lot of these. And this keeps everything still compact and simple. Overall, I've been having a blast with the Sony FX3, and now with this setup, I literally got better audio going in, and then with tools and posts like the voice isolation and things like that in DaVinci Resolve, I can really clean up and really edit the sound how I want to. And also, you still have an additional transmitter with this setup where you can put it on a boom, or maybe you can lav it up, or maybe even you take both of the transmitters and you lav up and boom up, and you can run it that way. Or if it's a even bigger project where you may have your own sound, location sound, you can essentially ask the location sound person to give you a 3.5 line out to go into one of the transmitters, and that way it can go right into the camera. So for whatever work that you're doing, you got audio signal go there, but at the same time, you still have that field recording, that's separated audio sound, where you can basically have the best sound possible. And this is just to get reference or make it easier to, if for some reason you have any issues with time code or anything, or don't have time code, it still makes it easier to sync up in post. Overall, I'm super happy with this setup. Again, this is probably one of the most compact, and the FX3 makes a great use case for this because the battery life on the FX3 is amazing. I can run close to 2 hours just on the one battery, and then I've got 3 additional more where I can just plug in and run that. They'll get me through most of the day by themselves, but I can always, like if I'm on sticks, I can just clamp up a V-mount right there and just run the cable again there, where all of a sudden I don't need this. I can just have it just there to charge the phone to view that, or I can just go wirelessly and move it wherever I need. But that's it for me today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think. Is this the setup you guys would use? Let me know your thoughts. I would love to know. Leave your comments down below. And as always, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, take care, everyone.